Hello, people. We are back. A2TP podcast, episode 171, and we are back in the building. It's your boy, International Walk.
It's your girl, Tosh, the co-hostess with the mostest.
And we back for another episode of us, another week of us. Platforms you can catch us on is Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Podcast Index, Podchaser, Google Podcasts, Player FM. Newer episodes are being uploaded. I'm tired of telling y'all this every week when the person responsible for it has to do it. So I'm telling y'all, hopefully when y'all go there, it's there. But newer episodes are coming.
This weekend, I promise.
Oh, promise the people. Don't promise me.
What?
Promise the people.
I have to keep my promise to you.
Okay, but promise the people too.
I promise y'all.
Okay. She care about y'all too.
I've been busy, y'all.
So she promising the people, she promised me on camera, on tape, that, you know, the new stuff will be up there. So probably the last 10 episodes. But, you know, we still got $160 up there. So go check us out.
10? Nah, less than 10. It hasn't been 2 months since I did. That's 2.5 months. So probably like the last 5.
The last 5.
Yeah, 6
all right.
maybe.
So let's get right to it. How are you? I'm
doing great. I feel...
Go ahead.
Oh, there's about to say something. I feel really good. Mentally, I'm a 9.5. You know, I feel great.
Is that like leaving room for improvement, or you just shaved the point off? Like, I don't want to be too happy.
No, it's leaving room for improvement. I mean, yeah, it's leaving room for nothing is wrong per se, but always leaving room for improvement. You know, we had a great conversation today. Came to some, you know, level of understand, or at least I thought it was. You kind of look like,
Well, I was just thinking to see, like,
was it good?
Yeah, was it right? Was it good? Was it understanding? Did I feel the same way? All that was playing in my head at the same time. Okay.
Well, I thought we had a great conversation. I don't know.
I concur.
Okay. And it just feels good when we're on the same page. You know, no stress, no drama, no, you know, disturbance of peace. So I'm good. Financially, a 9.5. Again, leave room for improvement.
Okay.
Work is a 9.5. Work is great. Work is very busy, very good. Almost like, I don't know if people, I hear people talk about imposter syndrome, and I don't think that it's that. Like, I don't feel like I don't belong in spaces that I am. But I feel like I'm still kind of like in awe of it. So it's not like that I feel like I don't belong there. It's like I'm still kind of like, wow, I can't believe like I'm doing this. I'm really here. But I do feel like, you know, I've earned this spot and I'm following the footsteps that I think God has to be. So it's not really imposter syndrome. Like, I don't deserve it, but maybe it's that grace thing, like feeling like God, you know, His grace and mercy. I'm just grateful, you know.
Well, you know, enjoy it. Be in the moment. Don't like,
ruin it mentally. Yeah,
because you can't be present.
Yeah. But work is working. And I'm happy that I get some time off just to kind of woosah, because work is working. And then physically, I'm a 9.5 also. Feel good. I feel a little sore because of, you know, the gym activity we've been having going on, but I feel good. Nothing is hurting that I don't know why. Like, the pains is from the gym, you know, thank God. No other pains, illnesses, sicknesses, you know, so I'm extremely grateful.
Cool.
How are you?
I'm good.
No. How are you?
Oh, you brought a little old school back.
¿Qué pasa?
I'm good. I feel like a 9, a solid 9. I do like when we have positive and forward conversation that takes us from where we used to be to, you know, just a forward place. So I do appreciate that. Sometimes I think, and this is something that I've never done with you, but sometimes I think, like, just because you a whole woman, like, I won't fuck you up. But I will. And it's like, I just wanted
I
to
had
put that
no
out
idea
there.
where you were going
Just
with
wanted to
that.
put that out there, but sometimes it just, it just to be like that sometimes. But I feel good. I feel like a 9, and I do like that.
I ask you
positive conversation.
Sometimes, do you want to put the gloves on? I'm with
No,
it.
it's not about the gloves. It would be bare. It'd be bare knuckles. It's not gonna be no gloves.
You better tell people you joking before they call the people.
It's just, we're gonna work it out, but it ain't gonna be no gloves. Finances is a 9. Want to leave room for improvement. Everybody has a time of month where big bills are due. So everybody has. It's not like I'm experiencing something that other people don't. So you don't want to spend no money. You don't want to pay people. It's like the fuck, man.
Why we don't ever get no coupons for bills?
What
the electric company don't ever see a coupon in there.
Y'all just was here 30 days ago. Work is great. Is the end of the job kind of runs itself and the stress level goes down. So yeah, that's where we at as far as work. Y'all will see the finished product of what we're doing. So that's soon to come. Physically, I feel like a solid 9. Today was tiring, probably because I just had 2 bad days of traffic. Us not being on the same page. It's like my mind isn't really focused on. I mean, I know I got to work out, and I'm there to do that, but I'm just really not focused the way I should be, and I don't like that. So, but physically, I feel like a 9. Yeah, wows and woes, ups, downs, stops, goes, blacks, whites.
My
niggas
wow
and whites.
is just what was the last one?
Niggas and whites.
Yeah.
Damn, I got bars.
Okay. You want to do some recording? Want to get to the studio?
No, I'm
Okay.
not. I don't have bars like that.
I don't have any woes. Nope, I don't have any woes. I'm grateful for that. My wow is just making it, another week, and just life right now that's how I feel. Life is wowing me. Mm-hmm. My relationship with God, I feel like is always strengthening, and I feel, I like this week I started sending you, the prayer and my Bible study that I do in the morning. And I hope I know it's received. Like, you ain't gonna be like, don't be texting me this. Like, but that's just something that I want to share with you. I also have a group text with my sisters and my nephew. Like, he's part of like the grown-ups club now. I send them the same information too. Like, just to spread God's word. So my relationship with God, my relationship with you, work is good. My friends are good. So I think that's just my wow, is that I constantly pray to God to order my steps, to allow my words, my actions to be reflective of Him. We pray every before every episode. Yeah, but I meant like before every episode. And I always, like, my husband leads us in prayer, and in my mind I just ask God to allow our words to be reflective of Him. And that's my prayer throughout life. And not like I'm walking around Bible thumping, because sometimes you project God in ways outside of the Bible. Sometimes your life and your actions and how you speak and the things you do is the only Bible that some people will see. So you're a reflection of that. And I just continue to ask God to strengthen me in that way. And on one of my favorite gospel songs is Tasha Cobb's Overflow. And when it's that part when she just said, God, you can blow my mind, it gives me chills every time, because you never know like what God is about to do in your life. And not in a selfish way, like I'm not talking about financially or anything like that, but God continues to wow me and blow my mind in big and small ways. But it's really always big when it comes to Him, no matter how small it may seem to the world. So that's my wow.
No woes. Made it another week. My wow is, it's funny that you say that, is because I was about to share that you started to send me these scriptures, and I like them. So I just wanted to express that to you, that that's a kind thing for you to do. I appreciate it, and the 2 that you have sent me, like, I've enjoyed them, and I feel like if that's I want to be a part of you starting your day and putting something positive out like I do, like I want to be a part of that. So it just makes me feel good that you think of me in that light, regardless, like if I'm your, because I'm your friend first before I'm your husband, but it just makes me think like, damn, like she thinking about me when she's talking to God, and she's sending me something that will help start my day the way she starts hers. So I appreciate you for that, and I like it. So yeah, that was my wows and woes.
That's my way of stopping myself from crying.
Let's get right to the show. So I was not torn, but I'm looking at what's going on in the world, and I want to speak about legacy. Mm-hmm. And we had a show about legacy, our owns, but I want to speak about legacy. We have these people, entertainers, icons of sort that we may look up to. You know, some people do, some people don't, but we enjoy, and we enjoy their entertaining and them entertaining us. And as a tyke, I was always taught you never speak ill of the dead.
You said as a tyke?
Yeah, a tyke, a young boy, a jit, like whatever you want to call it, like wherever you from, you know, a youngster, a little guy. But yeah, I always was taught you never speak ill of the dead. And our recent death, as far as entertainment, was OJ. And OJ Simpson, everybody knows his backstory. Some may not know his backstory, that he was one of the greatest running backs in NFL history. He was the first running back, or one of the only running backs to run for 2,000 yards in a season in 12 games. Hall of Famer. So he had this big career before the movies and the Hertz commercials and all the things that you know him for, even before the situation with his wife and Ron Goldman, the murder case he was
I
on.
would say the situation?
Yeah, well, the murder case that he was accused of. Went to court, it was publicized, he was acquitted and not found guilty. But it's like he died this week, and the first thing that people bring up is he should have died, who cares, he's a murderer. And it's like, you know, he had his day in court, regardless of what we think about him or what we have in our minds. He went through the process, and he was acquitted, and so he should not be called a murderer. But let alone when he dies, nobody has a peaceful thing to say about a person who had this long life. And it's like they just come down on the most negative things that they can say about a person. Caitlyn Jenner said good riddance to OJ, as if she killed somebody with a car before and paid them off. So if you want to, you know, throw rocks at a glass house and say you're a murderer, you are too. And when Kobe died, it was like the first thing they brought up, not that he was a great father or he did these things with NBA players, or he was trying to bring awareness to the WNBA and he was a loving husband. No, it was the stuff that he was accused of in Colorado. Again, not convicted, but accused. Michael Jackson dies, never convicted of anything, but there's rumors that he messed with kids. When he dies, nothing about how people fainted for Michael Jackson, 40-year-old white men passing out. It was all about he messed with kids, Kevin Samuel, now not everybody liked him, and you can love or hate him, but he had a platform. He was an educated man. He spoke about stuff that he cared about. When he died, the visceral attacks that was on him was like, are we real humans? Like this people that was wishing he died, that was putting up happy faces and stuff that he died. So it's like, what is it about your legacy, no matter what you do in life, the good, the bad? Is it the very last thing that people know you for? Or is it just because you're up here, when you die, they bring you down here?
So a couple things. One, I think it says more about the people who are wishing negative things about these people than it does about the actual deceased person. Because I don't care who it, well, I don't want to say I don't care. If you're the family of Nicole Simpson, okay, Nicole Simpson, Ron Goldman, I'm gonna exclude them from this conversation for a moment. But if you're anybody else outside of that, a friend or family of theirs, to wish death or have negative feelings, like, it ain't your business. For you to wish death on anybody who has not done anything to harm anybody in your family, again, to me, that says more about your character. Not to say my character is so far superior than anybody else's.
So many people with bad character then.
But you know what I first thought about when he died? One, I thought, oh my God, I know they're going to be saying horrible stuff about him on the internet. And two, I hope his children, which I feel like they would be, I hope his children already have it instilled in them to stay away from the internet, even before their father was deceased, just because of the rhetoric that's talked about when it comes to their dad. Anyway, so that's what popped in my mind, that empathy for them, like that's the last thing you want to see is good, I'm happy, good riddance, I'm happy he's, whatever it is.
Like, what kind of shit is that to somebody that loves their parent and, of course, had a different relationship with them than a fan would? You don't even have a relationship with them, you're just a fan. But for somebody's dad to die,
and that's what they have to see.
And that's
so
what
that's what popped in my
that's
head.
Crazy.
Now, it's weird that you mentioned those three people, because for me, I'm excluding Kevin Samuels.
Okay.
I don't even want to put him in he's like a social media person that, you know, it was such a small amount of time that he was known. I mean, you know, like him or not, like, I don't want to put him in the realm of OJ, Kobe, and Michael Jackson.
Just as far as they spoke bad about him when he died. That's all. Not
right.
Like,
but I mean, I feel like he was like a neighbor. I'm just saying. Like, yes, it's horrible that they said anything bad about him, but I feel like for those three people, it's weird because I feel like there's different levels. So from my perspective, OJ, yes, I feel like the negative part is going to completely overshadow any success that he had in the football world, because when you have to think about the generations, like the generation that experienced him playing football is a much older generation, and now you have to think about the generation that came. Like, I was in high school when his football career was over, and when the criminal case.
So what do you know
place.
OJ from? Is it the cheesy movies? Is it the commercials, or is it the OJ chase?
I know him from the OJ case as an ex-football player.
Okay.
So it, like, when the OJ case happened, it was like,
you knew who he was because it was like, oh, he played football.
But I didn't know anything about him. I just knew of his name.
Okay.
Literally just his name. I didn't know any stats. I never seen him play. I didn't even know that until it was like during the case they talk. So I wasn't of that era to hear OJ talk. Now, I will say football was not watched in my house growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my male parent was not a sports watcher. So that may make a difference also. But I'm just saying, that will overshadow anything that happened in the 70s and 80s because of who the generation is now.
But do you think that has something to do with because he was acquitted for it, but do you think it has something to do with let me just say this though. I don't think the fact that he was acquitted for holds much weight. We know a lot of people who are acquitted for stuff that they did it. You know, people that are found guilty for stuff that didn't do it. Unfortunately, in this society, the court of public opinion is going to have more. It's going to hold more weight than I know it holds
you being
more weight,
acquitted on paper.
But it's not fact. Is what I know it holds more weight, but it's not fact.
But him being the fact is that he was acquitted. So, that's not a fact that he didn't do it.
But what I'm saying is the fact. So the fact that black people think that he did it and white people think that he did it. I don't necessarily think he did it. I think he had a son or somebody to do with it. But I don't think he cut people's heads off himself. But the evidence, it kind of showed that he had something to do with it. But do you think that's because, I lost my train of thought. What was we saying?
About that overshadowing his career prior to that.
Okay, so do you think it was because of where it was, like in LA around that time? What was this, 94? That this was around the time of that ban for TV, the streaming of the car chases and all that kind of court TV and all that kind of stuff kind of started around that time. OJ was the first case that was documented on court TV that for people to see. No, the Menendez brothers was first. Then OJ came. But that was the area and the boom of.
So it was like real reality. I don't think the fact that it was in LA has anything to do with it.
No, it does, because in LA, and I researched this, that's the only state or the only city that streams a car chase. Like if you're in a gas station and you got a suspended license and the cop pulls behind you and you don't stop, 5 miles down the road a helicopter comes and they're over top of you and they stream that. And it could just be Mike in the car. Nobody famous.
Right. What I'm saying is, for the general public, the fact that it was in LA, the fact that it was streamed, yes, I think that has something to do with me, because it became reality TV. So those images of the Bronco pulling into the driveway and, like, you know, those images will be in people's minds forever. So now you're saying that LA is the only place that does it, but I don't think people knew that. It was just the fact that it was televised regardless of where it was. So I think that was even more like it became
that's the thing.
I
don't think it would have been televised anywhere else. If that would have happened in Arizona,
no,
or something,
I get that, but I'm saying the general public doesn't know that.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So just the fact that it was televised is part of the reason why it was like we were let into a world that we don't normally see.
Right. From
the police chase to the court case to the verdict, like we were let into a world that is not normally exposed. So I think that whole situation, and it caused some racial divide, because I remember I was in health class. Mr. Michaels was our health teacher. He was Caucasian, and he was visibly like the TV used to be up in the corner in the classroom, and they turned it on. Like, we're in health. Why do we see this? And when they announced the verdict, he was like he was upset.
And people, black people were running around saying, "We won, we won," and it was like. It was a year after Rodney King was beat on tape, and those cops got off. So people kind of felt like, okay, we lost that one, but we won this one.
Right, and I think it was just so much we won, whereas he beat the system.
Right.
But I do agree that many people believe that he had something to do with it.
A lot of people.
Now, let me go to the other people. So, as I was saying, for OJ, that's going to overshadow. I think for Kobe, yes, his negative circumstance was mentioned, but I think his career far, far overshadows.
But with Kobe, I don't think it should have been mentioned at all.
I mean, I get that, but
that's nasty that you bring that up when the guy dies with his daughter. You bring up,
that's the society.
He had rape allegations.
Yeah.
Like allegations, not convictions. Again, none of these people I'm talking about have convictions. They have allegations, accusations.
I understand that, but I'm saying for Kobe, I don't think it. I think it was mentioned, but I think very few people even mention it any longer. I think his career, his success, everything that he's done as far as his basketball career far outshadows that negative spot I was going to say that negative spot on his jacket, but not on his record, because he wasn't convicted.
Right.
Now with Mike Jackson, this is why I feel like it's all different. I feel like it's a 50-50. His career, his just him being the phenom that he was, and as far as his stardom. And then also the other allegations, I really feel like it's a 50-50 thing. So that's why I feel like I thought it was ironic that you mentioned those, because I think it's all three different levels. OJ,
I knew each name would bring a different conversation.
Yeah.
And with Michael, I kind of understand, because it's children. And it's like that kind of stink lingers. Even in death, that would linger, because it's like it's little people. So I kind of get MJ. Kobe was disgusting, because he was like basically in the second half of his life, and he was retired from basketball. He was at every game. He was in the Euro League, like speaking different languages, he was showing a side of himself that he didn't his first half of his career, because he was winning championships and playing basketball and just being the Black Mamba. But when he died, it was like that's one of the first things that came up. And I hear what you're saying. It went away. It quelled. Small, yeah. But it was somebody thought it was a good thing or a positive thing to say in a moment of death like that.
But you got to think who we're talking, the internet. When you say somebody, that somebody is the internet, they're going to find something negative. Let me just say this. Today, I was reading a post. This has nothing to do, but I'm just talking about the internet. I was reading a post. It's a page that's dedicated to Africa, right? Africa. All different things about Africa. Beautiful people, things. I learn a lot from this page. And it was talking about the top 5 countries that benefited from the African slave trade. So, okay. Somebody comments and started to talk about how in Middle Eastern countries, how slavery there, slavery still going on. And I'm not diminishing whatever's going on there, but wanted to know, well, why are you only talking about this and not talking about this? And it was like, because this page is about Africa. So it's one of them things where the internet is always going to interject itself and have some, it's like the all lives matter people.
Right.
You know, so
I just was having this conversation with Tom at work.
It's one of them things where you're all I don't think there will ever be a topic that you could talk about something being so beautiful, so loving, so caring, like just the best thing in the world, rainbows and butterflies and sunshine, and somebody's gonna say, the sun is a little too hot.
I seen the worst.
It's too many butterflies. The rainbow ain't bright enough.
Somebody put up an infant. Somebody said, "Get that ugly ass baby out of here." Like that just took the cake for me. Like that's just saying I want to have something negative to say, and I just don't think in depth that these people that again we go pay money to see, we watch their whole careers, we go to their concerts, we look at their podcasts. Even Kevin Samuel, like love him or hate him, he had a platform. He spoke from his heart, his passion, and a lot of women didn't like him because he kind of gave off a rhetoric of, you want
get yourself together.
Yeah, get yourself together. You expecting this 6-foot knight in shining armor to come and pick you up, but you ain't worth that. So a lot of women, we call women linebackers. Like that's crazy. But a lot of women didn't like him. But if he died, he still has a mother that might be alive, a father, a brother, a son, a daughter. And to just go, and this is the generation we live in, their kids are going to see stuff on the internet. They can't escape it. They got friends. So they're going to see that stuff. And it's just sad that people, even in death, they wish bad things. Let me ask you. And we're not talking about Charlie fucking Manson here. We're not talking about Jim Jones here. We're talking about, and I'm talking about mass murderers. We're not talking about, like foul people. We're talking about stars and stuff. But
that's subjective, because somebody could say OJ is a foul person, or somebody could say Michael Jackson is a foul person if they believed he touched kids. But let me ask you this: how many times, and whatever the answer is, you saw something, a post, whether it was, I don't know, an outfit you didn't like, a picture you didn't like, a message you didn't like, and you commented to say you didn't like it, or like commented something negative?
Once.
Okay. About the white toes.
Yeah. And it was because the internet was new to me, and social media was new to me. You had to school me on what may be inappropriate, what's over the line, how to work it, like what should be, you had to school me on a lot of that stuff because it was social media was out 10 years. I didn't touch it.
I knew you were going to say that.
When I got to social media, I made some mistakes, but it was like, I wanted to be a person who told myself, if I'm going to use this to push positivity out every day. I don't want to comment on, if it's something negative I want to say, I don't say anything. I just won't comment. But I don't get on sites and pages and comments to say a bad thing. I always say something positive.
And my thing is, I really live by the motto on social media: if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all.
I don't at all.
Like whether it's an outfit, a message somebody saying, they'd be like, it's different if you're having a conversation with somebody you know, or maybe not know, and you're just expressing a difference of opinion. But to say something negative about something, I have never done that. But that's you and I. You know how many people feel like it's social media. And for me, I can say what I want. If I can give my opinion. So people are just always going to have something to say. That's just what they do on the internet. Now, I will say this. I'm not talking about on social media. I'm talking about in life. When you say don't speak ill of the dead,
wasn't you taught that when you were young though?
No, I mean, I've
Come
heard
on
old.
now. You've
I've
heard
heard
old people.
old
So you heard a
people
grandma
say
say you don't talk ill of the dead. That's not something that's foreign. I just said.
No, nobody ever said that like in my family to me. But yes, I've heard people say that. But I feel like if you was a bad person in life and you died, and me and my husband are having a conversation, I might say something bad about you. I don't care if you did or not.
Yeah,
I'm not posting it, but I might say something bad about you.
That's private conversation. Yeah, I would too. I ain't gonna front on that. Like in private conversation, yeah, we can talk how we talk, but I don't think you go public and say anything about
absolutely not.
Like that kind of shit. Absolutely, I think is wrong. Not. It's not what God would want your steps to be. It's not the approach He would want absolutely you to take, not. And you know that. So it's like knowing that. Nah, that's just not how we move. No. We're not talking about bad about. I have a dead grandmother, and I would hate for somebody that didn't like her to talk bad about her. So no, I've experienced death in my life, and at that point, it's over. You don't have nothing. You don't have nothing to say. Don't say nothing at all. But just say good things about this person.
If you have good.
If you have good things to say. If you don't, then don't say anything.
Now, when I started my comment, I was saying excluding their families, Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman. I did see a statement. Two things I saw. One, Ron Goldman's family, they were upset because they felt like OJ died without admitting guilt for what they feel that he did. Do you think that would matter to you?
I think it would matter to if you're the family, and that's
that's what I'm saying. If it happened, God forbid, to you, do you think that would like if you know in your heart somebody did it? What would that if he had admitted it? What would it give you?
It would some sort of closure. But before I lose my train of thought again, do you think that it's worse for OJ because he also leaned into it?
Yeah, it was like he rubbed it in their face. If he would have got
acquitted and walked away and had a life of goodness since then, since that happened, and from there he was leading a life of goodness and showing people he didn't get locked up again for 17 years for robbery. If none of that happened and he started to have changed behavior, that's the best apology, change behavior, and we saw that throughout the years, do you think it still would be as bad at death? Or because he wrote books
for the general public or for the family?
For the general public, because he wrote books. If I would have did it, the interviews,
I feel
all
like
he kind of leaned in, leaned into it. Like I got acquitted, but y'all think I'm a murderer, so I'm gonna play that.
I don't know if it would have changed the public's perspective of him. It might have been like, he did this and he did this. Like people, I think it may have been mixed feelings. But I think he did worsen the public image of himself because of how he appeared to like rub it in their face. Like that, just writing a book, if I did it, this is how I would have did it. Like that in of itself, that shouldn't even have been allowed. The publishing company should have, I feel like if I would, that was what the family said too. They were upset because he didn't pay whatever they won in the civil case.
It was $30 million.
Yeah, which a civil case to me is like foolish because if this person never gets that money, like where you getting it from?
Well, they garnish your wages and stuff like that, and they said at the end that OJ for like the last 7 years he did a lot of cash under the table transactions to hide that money from going to them because they will garnish your wages for that shit.
Yeah. And one other thing that I saw, they said that his children vehemently denied a request for them to study his brain for CTE.
I did see that too.
Yeah, they said no.
So it looks like no matter what you do in life, if you're an entertainer or a person in the public eye, and I don't know if this goes for regular folk like us, maybe it does, but people will take your worst moment, and that's what they remember you by.
Yeah, I definitely don't think that's just subject to entertainment. So that goes to
everybody. People will take your worst moment, and that's what your legacy is, regardless of what you've done in life. That's fucking sad.
I think people who
I don't want to be my worst moment.
I think people who don't love you will do that. You know what it is? I think the people who don't really matter are going to, because you think about people that we may have known, and I can't think of it. I wouldn't say anybody's name anyway, but I can't think about anybody off the top of my head. But you like somebody get killed, and you be like, "Oh yeah, you remember they did such," or it could be like, I'm making up a name. Little Bill, Little Billy got killed. Who Little Billy, the one who did the case for rape, who did that time for rape. Like, I think yes, unfortunately, any they would say smut on your jacket is going to get I don't matter in little Billy's life because he don't know. I mean, he may know me, but I don't matter. I don't love. That ain't a part of my life.
Right.
But I don't think the people who he mattered to and love. So I think that is what, like, I don't care. I wouldn't care what somebody thought about me, who didn't matter when I was living, who didn't matter to me. But I think those who love me and who are close to me, what they thought of me would matter most.
You have a family and your friend circle and your family circle know you have a history of beating up women, beating up your girlfriends, and one day one of your girlfriends end up harming you and you die. Do people speak ill of you then?
I think they'll be like, damn, that's a shame. Like, he died how he lived. I don't think it is necessarily that they will speak ill of you. They may speak honestly. Is that speaking ill of you because they're being honest?
No, but it's almost like a thing that's adapted. I don't think that's taught to you as a young person to speak honestly and ill like that because you're respecting the dead. I think as you get older and you're more in tune and grown, you start thinking, nah, I'm gonna speak the truth. That's when you see these funerals of people getting up there saying, he was a piece of shit. Y'all don't want me to talk.
No, but you think about this. Okay, I do know some people, we won't say any names, that we grew up with knowing who when they got killed was like, damn, he died how he lived.
Yeah.
So
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, so it's one of them things where is that speaking negatively? No, it's stating the facts. Like, this is what they did when they were alive, and this is how they died doing what they did. So you when you were alive, you were shooting and killing people. You died
so
being shot and killed.
What about those people that had a bad event in their life, and then from there they had changed behavior, but when they died, the events brought back up?
I think in those situations, like, I'll use you for an example if you don't mind. If somebody was to reflect on your past, 60 years from now when you pass away, I'm sure those people who are in our circle who love you and care about you, even if it's brought up, they're going to be like, damn, he was such a better man despite anything that he did in the past. Now, you will have those people that be like, yeah, you remember when he did such and such, or when he would, when he was on the run for all these years, or they was hiding all these years. Those people don't matter to us. So I don't think you can get away from it because you can't change the past, but the past doesn't define you to those who care and who really care and love you. That's how I feel.
So we don't have control over your legacy. Nobody does. So you spend a lifetime of, let's just say, philanthropy and service to your community and all this shit. And it doesn't really matter because if you did one thing wrong in death, they're going to bring that up.
Well, it does matter to those
even if you're talking
matter.
About the fucking block captain on the block. Like, if we known this person and been around him for 20 years and known they was a good person, but we know this one shady thing they did, when they die, oh yeah, we're talking about that shady thing. That shit just is foul.
You ever heard people that say, those who mind don't matter and those who matter don't mind. So again, you do have some level of control because, essentially, if you don't do the bad thing, then you don't have to worry about that being remembered. So that's how you can control it. But you really can't control how other people think and what other people remember. The people that really matter to you. So I live my life wanting to make sure that God first is pleased with what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. I know I don't always make him happy and I don't always get it right.
Let me ask the question first. What kind of legacy do you want to leave?
Well, okay. So that's my first priority. Secondly, my husband. I want to make sure that I'm a reflection of you. So the life that I live, I want anybody to be like, okay, if they see, oh, that's Walt's wife. I'm Natasha and of myself. Being Walt's wife doesn't define me, but that's a piece of who I am.
Right.
Then I'm those kids' aunt. So that's what really matters to me, how I live my life, because I say and talk a lot to them and tell them a lot, but I know more than anything, they watch and they observe and they see and they hear and they, kind of pick up on the things that I do. So the legacy that I want to leave is, again, making God happy. If my husband is here after I'm gone, making sure that he was happy with me, and that my kids and my sisters, like, you know, like that's who, when, because I don't
That's
think
who holds your legacy to you.
yeah, and I don't
And I
think your
feel this-
legacy
yeah.
definitely. I don't think your legacy is only defined, you know, once you pass. Like you have a legacy while you're living. It's like you leaving your footsteps. So you already have a legacy. You have a change legacy behind you. So you're still making your legacy. People are still watching and observing and following what you're doing. So that
you're
is what's
making
important
it,
to me.
but it's a period when it's over. So
Exactly,
you're making it, but
exactly.
you can't make no more. So it's like at that point, and I feel the same way. Like you are my legacy. Like I've spent a lot of time in my life with you, and I just feel like if something was ever to happen to me, as long as you spoke good about me, I think I'm fine with that. Like regardless of my siblings, my parents, or anything like that, I think that the person that I spent the most time with, day to day, if she spoke good about me and said I was a stand-up man, then I'm fine.
Yeah, like you know, if my time was to come, you know, God will know what my actions were. I want my husband to say I was an amazing friend to him, a loving wife, that, you know, the best partner that he could ask for. I want my sisters to say whatever they feel were the best parts of me. I want my friends to know that I was a good friend to them. And my nieces and nephews, like that's what anybody else thinks of me is outside of my control. Would it be nice for them to have nice things to say about me? I guess, but I ain't gonna hear it.
Yeah, but it just makes you think like, what is this legacy thing? Like, because no matter what, if you're an entertainer, if you're a person that lived down the street, somewhere in that friend circle, somewhere in that family circle, somebody's going to say something about that negative thing that may have happened in their life. And they'll speak about that in depth, and not while they were here, not while they were around. They won't say it to their face, but it'll be like you said, oh, Billy got shot. Oh, the Billy that was locked up for rape. And it's like, what the fuck, bro? He dead. Like, why are we talking about he was locked up for rape? That was 20 years ago.
Yeah, but I mean, that was part of Billy's life.
But
and
that's
that might...
how you know him. And it's like, that was 20 years ago. What did Billy do in 20 years? He was a good dude. He got married. He had some kids. He had bought a house. He was taking care of his family.
He was locked up for rape.
But
that's what's
like,
going to linger, unfortunately. Now, and I'm going to steal your words. I think the best way that you imprint your legacy on the world, whether your world is big or small, is to live where your feet are. You can't think about how people are going to think about you when you're not here. I feel like I have to just think about being the best me that I can at this moment. And that's what's going to lead to my next moment, God willing, and the next willing, God willing.
That's been a buzzword for a long time. What kind of legacy you leaving? When you get older, what's going to be your legacy? And it just makes you think, especially when you're older, because you start to have less time in front of you than more time behind you than you do in front of you. But it's like, okay, like it really don't matter. It might matter to 6 people in your circle, but that's it. It don't matter to the world. Even if you're an entertainer, it doesn't matter to your millions of fans, because they're going to say something negative about you.
And again, I think too, you have to focus on why you're here, because again, if we think about our kids, once we're gone, like you said, that's the period. It's nothing more that we can give them or teach them. So we have to focus on what are we giving them while we're here, because once that period comes, guess what? It ain't nothing else we can offer but memories, So yeah,
it's crazy.
And then it was another question that you had that I can't. When you were saying, do you care at all? I don't know. I forget. I can't really think of it. Go ahead.
Do you care at all?
Only about those people that I mentioned. Like I care about God, you,
and the kids,
and my immediate circle, my sisters, Toya, like that's
I think that people are bad. I think people are bad, and I think people like to see a crash out, and I think people, it's a different level of negativity or drama that you're drawn to when you say something bad about a person that just died. I just feel that way. Now, some people, you're right. You might say, dude was a piece of shit. He treated everybody like shit. He died. Nobody got nothing good to say about him. Okay, fine. But if you celebrated the person when they was here and you look past their discretions and you were inspired by them and then they die and the first thing that comes up is something negative, that's just like, it just don't feel good to me.
But
I'm not saying people are bad or wrong. I am actually saying that it's bad and wrong. I'm just trying to say that it shouldn't feel good.
I don't think the people that celebrated them are going to be the same people that have the negative thoughts, though. I don't think because again, you were a huge Kobe
fan. But I'm
fan.
just looking at it as the internet. It's like, damn, so many people. He's a girl dad. He's this. He's that. He's loving. He's everywhere. He's he's talking to people. He ain't mean no more. Like all this shit. And then as soon as he dies, this motherfucker was a rapist.
Nah,
it's
but
like,
I think
are you kidding me,
but
man?
I don't think those are the people that had the good things. The true fans, I don't think their minds went there. Like I don't think.
No, I think that we were the ones defending them. Like, yo, what are y'all talking about? Like the guy died horrifically with his child. Like there's a time and place, and this ain't the fucking time for that.
Yeah.
Like think about it. If the shoe was on the other foot, again, would you want somebody just to take your worst moment in your life, regardless if you lived up to 20 or 99, the worst moment in your life, and that's what they are talking about when you're gone? That's just sad. It's just sad.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure over a lifetime, more people than not have done good things than bad things. There's a lot of bad people in the world that live a bad life, but more people than not do more good things in their life than bad things. And for somebody to pass away and it'd be like the first thing is like, why isn't the first thing to come up something positive?
Well, it depends on the life that you lived. It depends on, I hear what you're saying, but it depends on, there are some people that when they pass away, I would never celebrate anybody's death. And that I can say wholeheartedly.
I guess I'm not talking about those people who, I don't want to say are deserving of it, but who lived a life of not positivity, like doing people wrong, not loving thy neighbor. And when they die, of course, people around you are going to say that. I'm talking about the people that we celebrate.
But that's what I'm saying. Like the OJs of like somebody like OJ, he ain't celebrated by everybody. So and then again, the accusation of murder has a bigger forecast, a bigger cast over his life than his career.
It's crazy because okay, OJ has the murder, but you get guys like a Big Meech and the Flanagan brothers who killed a lot of people, but people idolized them.
Who are the Flanagan brothers?
Big Meech and his brother. The Flannery brothers. So I'm just saying.
But that's even different when you're talking about you're talking about a small subset of people, the hood. Like that's not like
no,
OJ,
I'm talking about two people who might have been responsible for like a lot.
But again, when you're talking about the people celebrating him, they aren't like you can't compare them to OJ. OJ is an international figure. The hood celebrates the Big Meech and people like that.
But every hood across America. So it's not like a small subset of people in every city, in every.
So, but when you think about OJ, you're talking about not just the hood. You're talking about that multiple demographics of people. So that's what I'm saying. You're talking about somebody who's celebrated by. It's a shame to say, like OJ was celebrated by America, white people, people of all different cultures, international cultures.
And I think his overlapped the generations, and I think there's a bigger portion of people who saw his football career, maybe people over 40, who know, okay, he was a good dude. So, like your father might not think OJ did it, or not think that he should be talked about in depth the way he was, but because he saw him play football, he saw him do stuff. And again, regardless of what you think, he was acquitted. If I was charged with murder and I was acquitted, I don't want to be called a murderer. I was acquitted. I went to court. I didn't go through a fake process. Y'all saw it on TV. Like I went through the process. They said not guilty. Done. I don't know. I think it's like it's defamation of character. Right? No, but that's the process in America. They don't always get it right. And you're right. The public, the the public opinion has a lot of weight to it, but that's not fact. The fact
but
is, evidence was shown. I was acquitted, so I should get a fair shake, a second chance. That's the way America should work.
It should, right? But what about the man who was in jail for 40 years for murder, and then they found out that he really was innocent? So during that time when he was in jail for the 40 years and he was being called a murderer, but he was saying, I didn't do it. So in reverse, should we say he's not really a murderer even though the court said he was?
I think in that situation, if you went through the process and you was convicted, you have a conviction on your record. Until that's overturned, yes, you're a murderer. Okay. Like, that's what you're classified as. That's what I'm just going by the process, the due process that we all supposed to. But you are
also agreeing that the court doesn't always get it right.
No, again, a year before the OJ, we saw 6 cops beat the fuck out of Rodney King, go to court and get acquitted. So it was like, damn, even on video, y'all don't lock these dudes up.
Okay, so let's use that. Does that mean that they are not guilty of police brutality? We saw them using excessive force and beating the hell out of him. The court said that they were not guilty. So do we say, no, they're not guilty of police brutality because the court said it?
I think that's apples and oranges because
the court acquitted him.
A racial component.
No. I don't care if Rodney King was white. I'm saying the court said that they were not guilty. We saw them do it, but the court said they were not guilty.
I know,
so do we say you are not guilty of police brutality because the court said you're not guilty?
I received that, but I think where it differs at is the racial component is added to the Rodney King thing and not to the OJ thing. And the racial component is, okay, everybody who has eyes sees these guys are guilty.
But no.
But everybody who has eyes don't know OJ was guilty.
I'm not talking about public opinion. You said the court said OJ was not guilty.
I get what you're saying.
So we should not call him a murderer.
I get what you're saying.
So the court said those men were not guilty of police brutality.
You know
should
what?
They not wear that on their jacket?
Touche. I'm
the
trying to explain.
Don't always get it right.
No, they don't. I agree with you. They don't get it right. But there's a racial component to the Rodney King thing.
I get that. And
again, it was like, this is video. There was no video OJ did it. There was evidence. The glove was too small. Like, blood in the car. Yeah, like, I remember all that shit. But even in that court process in California, it was not guilty. So it was like, okay.
So was the police officers that beat Rodney King.
I know, but who would say they not guilty though? I mean, who would say they not? They nightsticked a man almost to death. 3 grams. Kai Cenat paid $5,000 for some pussy. And the girl went live and told on him because he fell asleep there. So she took some pictures and, put his business out there. And what I learned is that even through a money transaction with no contract or anything, there are certain rights that are involved. Just in a cash transaction, like, I'm paying for a service, you're supposed to give me the service, and like, you're not supposed to be videoing me and shit like that. So I just read about all this today. But if you're a celebrity, you can't go outside the way you want because you're going to cause a fucking catastrophe. If you go outside, people are going to flock to you. Is it okay for these guys like this? Not like it's okay, like we need your permission, but do you not deem it wrong to be buying pussy online to fly a girl in because you can't date like a normal person?
Who's that? That's prostitution. So that's corny. First of all, the fact that you're buying coochie is corny. I mean, I know guys trick in different ways, but if you are actually transaction, like, here's the money, here's the coochie, it's not like you're tricking on this girl because you like her. I'm not buying that you can't go out. Like, yeah, you're a celebrity, but
the kid can't go out. It's fucking 10,000 people's gonna fucking show up.
But I mean, look at, like, Drake has had girlfriends, and I'm just throwing his name out there because he's a big name.
But he flies them in.
But what I'm saying,
the thing that I'm talking about.
No, but he's not. Right, tricking on somebody is different than than a transaction for coochie.
I understand what you're saying. If you come out and I fly you out on Friday, we fuck and I put you on a plane on Saturday and you go. But it's different if you come out on Friday, we have some breakfast, we eat lunch, we go shopping.
Boo love a little
we go
bit.
to the movies.
Like, we know what it's
fuck
hitting
the next
for.
day. We spend a weekend together and I let you go on Sunday, then all the tricking I did all weekend is fine. Yeah. But if we come over and just say, yo, skip all that bullshit, I'm here for sex.
Like you ordered a massage. Like that. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. We all men trick. Like, you trick on me in a different way, but it ain't like a hand for hand, like, here go to $40.
Well, you do ask me, I do something strange for some change.
Well, I don't mind.
Like, I
don't mind.
The girl that had the pussy for the 40.
Like, here go the $40, and here go the coochie in the pocket. So my thing is, I mean, that's what he gets, because...
And how do you fall asleep with a stranger in your house?
Yeah, why don't you... But
I understand a man busting a nut and we feel tired and we want to go to sleep, but this is a fucking stranger in your house. Like, you talked on the internet too for an hour or two. She's been in your presence for 6 hours and you go to sleep around her?
I'm not surprised because he's so young. And it blows my mind. And we don't have kids in our home. Your child is an adult, so I don't get this whole YouTube sensation thing of like making these gamers this famous for people watching them play a game. I get that it's a thing. It's crazy to me that it's such a big thing that it makes people this rich. But he's young, he's dumb, obviously full of cum, and hopefully he learned a lesson. Like, hopefully it makes me think when people say, like, who's your old head? Like, he needs some old heads in his corner to like school him. Like, this is how you do this. This is how you finagle this. Like, okay, if you got the girl, you gonna do this. Yeah, you put her out after. You call her Uber. First of all, you get her a hotel room, maybe. You call her Uber when you done and you send her to her hotel. You don't because she could have called some homies to jack you while you was asleep. She, like, anything.
Like, this nigga knocked out beside you and you taking pictures and he like knocked out sleep. Like, you a stranger.
But then at the same time, and this is just I'm usually not a cynical person like this, but when it comes to the internet, I don't believe nothing. That could be for publicity too.
Could be.
I mean, who knows? People do anything nowadays. Like, these videos of like content creators, and I know, and this is like a little separate, I've got some feedback about us, positive, people supporting and, having suggestions about how they think, we can create content. But I realize I'm not about that life. We're not about that life to like
we can
set up a camera.
Parts of our life, but we're not creating content.
Like, set up a camera over there. First of all, go over there, set up the camera, then get in our car and drive and show us, like, showing up for us. Like, or put the camera on the shelf while we're shopping in Target and it's watching us like we're making a commercial. Like, I'm just not about that life.
No.
But so in this world of content creation, you don't know what to believe nowadays. He could have said that so people know, like, oh, he got money like that he buying coochie, or just so it could start a bigger conversation for people to do exactly what we're doing right now, which is talk about him. Because we would never talk about this guy in any other situation.
No. Second gram. Jonte Porter, NBA player, plays for the Toronto Raptors, is banned for life from the NBA for gambling on his own sport.
So
you're allowed to gamble on other sports. You're not allowed to gamble on your own sport.
Even if it's a different team?
He was betting on his own games.
Yeah. Was he betting against himself?
No, he wasn't betting against himself, but he was betting on NBA games. He's an NBA player.
The rules are the rules. So
that's a Pete Rose. Like, everybody know about Pete Rose in baseball and was banned for life. So you can't bet on your own sport. You can bet if your state allows you to bet on football, bet on baseball, bet on tennis, bet on hockey, bet on fucking the ponies on the Greyhounds, but you can't bet on NBA games. You're an NBA player.
I don't think that's fair because but it doesn't matter what I think. If that's the rule and he broke it, that's what he gets.
Yeah.
But I say I don't think it's fair because
Serena Williams can't bet on tennis games.
If I am betting on a basketball game, two things. One, if it's not my team, why can't I bet who I think is going to win? And even if it is my team, as long as I'm not betting against myself, because if I'm betting against myself, that means I'm willing to like throw the game. But if I'm betting I'm going to win.
But you might do something out of the conforms of the team's strategy to win. You might be out there playing a ball hawk because you're trying to win.
Okay, so
you're going to affect the game wrong either way.
All right,
that's why you're not supposed to bet on your sport,
your own game. But if it's other teams,
no, it's your sport, babe. Again, it would be like Serena Williams betting on tennis matches. You can't do that.
I understand, but why? Like, if she's betting on other people,
just because that's your sport and it's a conflict of interest, you may know inside stuff that other people don't.
Okay,
you may know friends who might have this girl got a sprained ankle. Don't nobody know that because she told me that, and now I know, so I'm a bet $1 million, and you winning all the time. That shit is
that
not
makes sense
good.
now. I didn't think about it in that aspect. Well, that's what he get. Rules are rules.
Yeah,
and
for life. His kid's 22 years old, and you was an NBA player making millions, and that shit.
Yeah, like
gone.
Why did you have to bet? You already were making all this money.
Talking about fucking the bag up, like that's gone for life now. You could have played 12 years in the league, making millions.
Was he good?
He was okay. He could have lasted a decade in the league. You could have made $150 million, but no, you betting $50,000, $100,000 on your own sport, like that shit's stupid as hell.
Big dummy.
That shit's stupid as hell. Last Graham, what's something that you'll always stand on business about?
My husband. Yeah, don't don't ask me too many questions about my personal business, about my husband. And I was like this. I think being protective of you. I'll never forget one day when this was a while ago, a former job of mine, we had like a zoo day, and we went to the zoo, and this lady, and we cool now, because she let me know like she thinks you handsome, which she's respectful, but when we were there that day, she was calling me like Natasha, like trying to catch up to us, and she was like, I seen you, I was wondering who that was you was with. I was like, you was calling me to ask me about my husband, like. That rubbed me the wrong way. Like, check yourself. Like, in what world, like, is that okay? No matter who you thought he was, you should have asked somebody else. So that is like, don't cross the line when it comes to mine. Like,
I don't even think I have to explain. Like, because it might make me emotional, but the same answer. Like, my wife, I'll go outside the house every day 50% positive and 50% negative, and I try to stay on the positive side. But that's one thing in my life that I will gladly race to the negative side for. Like, I will show you a side of me that you probably would never see in another person before. Like, that's how much I'll defend her. So for me, it's my wife. Yeah.
That, and I was, of course, standing on my faith. I heard something, probably, it might have been, time goes so fast, it might have been a couple years ago, really, if I think about it. And it has stuck with me. People have different beliefs, different religions. And it was a minister saying, like, they would never get into, like, a debate about the Bible with somebody. And that I appreciated when I heard them say that, because I don't feel like I know enough about the Bible to debate. I can encourage somebody. I can, give my testimony of faith to them, but I would never get into a debate with somebody about why you should believe this versus this. But I will always stand firm on my faith. Like that, it's non-negotiable with me. Like it's non-negotiable. Like if somebody, I think about those situations where people say, somebody put a gun to your head and ask you to deny Jesus, like, would you do it? And that could be in a crazy situation, a real life situation that somebody might have to face. But it's like, I'm always going to stand on business when it comes to my faith. And then, of course, you don't mess up my kids.
Well, that's circumstantial, because I want to live. But to argue with somebody about faith or the Bible is almost like I'm not going to debate my testimony. Like, I believe this way because of what I know in my life he showed up and did. So for me to try to argue that to you it's my life. You wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
You wasn't almost dead. You wasn't almost, about to hurt you. You wasn't in my shoes. So I'm not going to argue with you about why I believe so strongly. If you don't, maybe it ain't happened for you yet.
And I probably could never get you to understand.
Yeah, so for me to argue, it's
yeah.
like trying to argue my testimony to you. And it's like, nah, I'm not. That's almost disrespecting my testimony. Yeah. Like, you wasn't there.
And you know how I feel about my sisters. And it's weird because I know, like, we've been together. My youngest sister, we've been together since she was 8 years old. She's over 30 now. She got gray hair. And I remember you not that you had a problem, but you didn't understand the bond or the closeness that we had. And as, we got older, I think you came to understand it more. And through therapy, like, it wasn't always a positive situation.
No, it just came as recent. Yeah, I hated it the whole time. I'm not going to lie to you. I hated it. And I hated it. I hated it because of a myriad of reasons.
No, but what I'm saying is I appreciate you. Yes, I agree. It was a recent, like within the last 4 years or so. But I remember like it being a situation where it was like a health emergency. And I think and this was like 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. But I think the us 10 years ago, you would have been so angry at me for like, I got to go. Like, I got to make sure she all right. And I think the us now, like, you understood, like, you knew, like, even if you didn't like it was like, you knew.
No, because the us 10 years ago, that would have been fine because of the situation. So it would have been something medical like that. Even though I didn't like the relationship, I never would have been upset or felt any type of way about, oh, she's hurting in the hospital.
No, I'm not saying you would have been upset, but you might have been like a little salty, like, damn, you fleed me. You would have understood. I just think your level of understanding now is
my level of understanding has come along, but I disagree. I don't think I would have been salty. I'm salty about something else. Okay. Oh, I need you to come and go to the store with me. Like, yeah, it'd have been like, what the fuck are you talking about? Go to the store by yourself. But I'm in the hospital and I'm by myself. Yeah, I expect you to be like, I gotta go.
That and last thing I'll say, was this like a one answer question?
Yeah, we're done. Let's wrap it up.
I was just going to say loyalty. And I say that because, there are some people like, I always think back to when you had your emergency and, Toya being like, I'm on it. Like, so that means the world to me when people are loyal to me and loyal to us. And like those moments in life, like, you don't have a lot of people in the world that will stand on business about you. Mm-hmm. So it makes you feel like those are people that it has to be reciprocal.
You want to reciprocate.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap it up.
Let's do a wrap. A2TP Podcast, episode 171. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Podcast Index, Podchaser, Google Podcasts, and Player FM. You can catch our faces. It's your boy, International Walk.
It's your girl, Tastical, who's with the mostest.
And if you fuck with us, you fuck with us. If you don't, you should. Peace.
You forgot me again.